Hello, everybody. It's another girls' night out tonight. No fellas allowed. And tonight we're talking to the editors from a magazine called From Barriers to Bridges. And they're a couple of, well, three ladies who have been going for about a year now. I think it's almost a year. And they are talking about vulnerable people, well, the most marginalised in society. So they give them a voice, whether positive or negative, to speak out about the issues that face them. So I'd like to start off with Caitlin, Caitlin Stimpson.
Sorry, Lizzie, it's Gaz. We've lost Caitlin a couple of seconds ago.
Oh, well, it looks like then we have no guests at the moment, but I'm sure they'll be back. So I think that, can we bring Sian in?
Yeah.
Hi, Sian.
Hi, Lizzie.
If it might be just us.
Me and you, the girls' night. So what should we talk about then tonight? What's going on in politics today?
We're going to talk about barriers to bridges a little bit, but let's first of all catch up on the week. There is, right, wait a minute, I've just got to get it up. What have we got? We've got the Unison president dismissed from Kirklees Council, Paul Holmes. Yeah. So he has been in the council, in his job for 48 years, I believe. And all of a sudden, well, 2 years ago, he got accused of something. And it's been the inquiry into it was over, I believe, 18 months ago. But he's been suspended for 2 years and 2 months so far. And today he just got a letter saying that he's sacked. So, of course, all the people in Unison think that it's because of his position as president of the union. Do you know anything about it, Sian?
I haven't heard much about it, no. But all I know is that I think Paul Holmes is on the left in Unison. And I think there's been a bit of a right-wing takeover recently in that particular union. And, all solidarity to Paul to be sacked after 48 years working for a union. And, presuming that he's been president, that would have been on a voluntary basis.
Well, he hasn't been sacked from the union. He's been sacked from his job with Kirklees Council.
Oh, right. Do we know why that is?
Yeah, well, I do know why, but I won't say why because I have no information as to whether he was charged guilty or innocent. So we won't be able to talk about that, but we can talk about the fact that most people believe that it was because of his left position. And as president of Unison, we do know that Unison has been extremely right-wing. It's assisted the government in the privatisation of the NHS.
Yeah,
it's done all sorts of nefarious things, and now that they're saying that the Socialist Party is involved somehow, that I don't quite know how, but I think the general feeling is that Paul has been stitched up. And that's a very sad thing, but it's the story of the day, isn't it? It's happening to everybody.
Yeah, it happened to me. I was taken down because I was on the left and a Jeremy Corbyn supporter. As you know, I was the division secretary for the National Union of Teachers and National Education Union where I live, and same thing happened to me. They took me down because I was on the left. I had no solidarity from my trade union at all. So my heart goes out to Paul, and we wish you well, and if there's anything we can do to help, please let us know, but we stand in solidarity with you. And I would say to Unison members, you need to question, if you're on the left, you need to question why you're still in that union. I'm very surprised at NHS staff, to be quite honest, as they've been hugely let down by Unison. You know, they should be changing unions. They should be organising to. I'm sure they will be
Yeah,
organising
there
themselves.
is a
But
huge group. I'm trying to think what it's called. It's Get the Vote Out or something. I can't remember what it's called now. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's for lefties inside Unison, and it's a Facebook group and it's a WhatsApp chat, and I think they do some great organizing. And you know, it's just abominable the way that, well, it isn't, we should expect it, I suppose. People are propagandized. If you go and talk to a nurse in your local hospital, they may well believe that Boris Johnson is doing as good a job as he can. They may well believe that the Labour Party would not would save the NHS if they believe that. You know, they believe whatever the mainstream media is telling them, don't they?
Yeah, unfortunately they do. But I don't know. I'm hoping that most NHS staff, you know, they see actually what's happening on their wards on a day-to-day basis now, don't they? They can see the private companies coming in and taking over different specialties. You know, I know our local hospital, which was Park Hospital, it's now Trafford General. It was the first NHS hospital in the country. It was the flagship hospital, and the majority of that has been, you know, rented out to private companies over the last decade.
Yeah.
So there's hardly any of it left that are actually NHS beds now.
No, that's right. Well, and you know, it's terrifying, really. And we have Dr. Bob Gill regularly on the show to talk about the history of the privatization of the NHS, how it started and how it's going to end by the looks of it. And we also have Momentum NHS, which is you know, it is linked to momentum, but it's linked to the momentum that was, you know, when it had meaning to most of us. And I'm afraid it's lost a lot of meaning to any of us now. But still, there are a few people inside it, same as within the Labour Party, that are still fighting, and we could give them our support, you know, and hopefully they can, you know, together, if we just forget about the things that divide us and think about the things that unite us, then hopefully we can all agree that the NHS is the most fantastic thing that this country has done, that we still have. You know, I mean, we did have social services, we did have gas, water, electricity, trains, buses, all nationally owned by the people, and now they're all privatized. The NHS is the last jewel in our crown, and hopefully people are waking up. We have a lot of people on Twitter now, ordinary nurses, ordinary doctors, ordinary staff. The people are striking, they're getting together in unions. We've had the Bart's Hospital, I think it was yesterday, there was a strike. I assume it's going on today as well. Other people have voted to strike, not particularly Unison union, but other unions, smaller unions and different unions. And Unite Community as well as Unite went to, I think it was Bart's yesterday, and demonstrated outside, you know, about the fact that you know, we're all getting screwed. 99% of us are being screwed by the 1%. So you've got to forget about the fact of whatever you vote. Voting at the moment is going to make no difference whatsoever, is it? It's boots on the ground. It's actions that we have to take. Go and stand outside your local hospital and tell everybody that you meet about what's actually happening. Give them a link to watch the NHS, you know, the great NHS heist, you know.
So yeah, we were heavily involved in, I say we, the NUT were very heavily involved in supporting the junior doctors when they were on strike a few years ago, and we were on the picket lines every day with them, you know, showing them solidarity, and that was an amazing movement. And we to some extent we need to do that again.
Yeah, and the government brought in the rules that unions can't. There's no secondary strikes anymore, so a different union can't come out in support of another union. And now the Tories are bringing in more rules that'll just break the knees of the unions. And
it didn't stop us from showing them solidarity, though. We were stood shoulder to shoulder with them on their picket lines.
Well, I think, as with Insulate Britain breaking laws, we have to. Laws are made to be broken, especially if they're immoral or wrong. And talking of Insulate Britain, the last 19, I think there were in court today, and they were in court yesterday. And then at lunchtime, the judge wondered where everyone had gone, and they'd gone outside and glued themselves to the railings. And
brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And said that not enough people have heard us shout, so send us to prison, why don't you? So today they sent a 79-year-old lady to prison for 30 days. So that's very brave of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
So really, I think what we can do about that is talk about Insulate Britain. Not them stopping the traffic or stopping people getting to work, but them telling the story about why aren't we insulating our houses? I know everybody, all the naysayers say, well, of course the government did that in the year 2000. Well, they didn't actually. They said that they would, but then if they would at the rate they were doing it, it would have been 2,400 years before every house in Britain was insulated. And it's now 22 years later. So that's not happened, has it?
It's not happened. And I've got two boys who are at university, and they're living in rented accommodation, and they're not, it's not the best accommodation because they can't afford it because they're students. And my son, he's spending an absolute fortune on electricity because he's got these drafty windows. He's tried to put tape round them and everything, but it's absolutely freezing, and he just can't keep on top of how much of electricity, how much money he's spending on electricity. It's just ridiculous. People don't realise that.
It's going to be even worse fairly shortly. In April, I think everybody's bill goes up by, on average, £660. Your food bill goes up by £180. And what was the other bill? I can't recall now. Sorry, audience, to be so not on top of the facts. But the thing is that that's a lot of money for ordinary people, who, I mean, whether you've got a good job or not, whether you've got a job or not, you still need to claim benefits to live.
Yeah.
My daughter has a very good job. She still needs to claim benefits to afford the rent.
And it's just wrong.
It is absolutely wrong. I mean, the thing is, right, with Insulate Britain, just to get back on point, is that what's the first thing we can do to cut carbon emissions, to cut everybody's fuel bill? Insulate the bloody property.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we can do. That will halve everybody's fuel bills. It will halve our carbon emissions, if not more, and why? Because there isn't the political will. That's why it isn't happening, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
It's to keep the fossil fuel industry going. They want us paying for all this fuel that burns out of our windows and our doors and our roofs and our floors even, and out of our walls even. So, the country, the entire country, 99% of us are being screwed. Wake up, people.
Yeah.
So have you got
anyway?
Any
Lizzie, I think Dawn and Caitlin are both here now. So should we go over to them?
Yeah, fantastic.
Can you take me out, and I'll speak to you later.
Okay. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello, Dawn. Can we hear you? Oh, I'm very sorry. We can't hear you, Dawn. Well, Caitlin.
Yeah.
I'll see if Gaz can help you in the back room, Dawn. Caitlin, you are an editor and you are co-editor with Dawn of a magazine called Barriers to Bridges. Now, this is for people who are seldom heard, and it's your first year. You're coming up to a year now. You've done some interesting things. Do you want to tell me a little bit about them?
Sure. So basically, I've when I started, it was June last year. Yeah, it was June last year. So just sort of as I was coming out of university, I started just as a volunteer intern. My sort of main roles were just sort of sub-editing work that other contributors had made, contributing articles and interviewing people myself, and writing newsletters, things like that. And then as time went on, I started to just pick up more and more things to do, which was really nice. And it's nice to be a part of a magazine that actually means something, you know. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yes. Did you particularly pick that, or did you just like go for as many jobs or internships as you could?
No, I specifically wanted to. In fact, I think I applied to a place called Disability Horizons and Barriers to Bridges. So I knew what I wanted to work in and what I wanted to write about. My university dissertation was about sort of debunking invisible disabilities and how people perceive you, and how authors write about people who live with invisible disabilities, and just I knew that was the sort of journalistic work that I wanted to write, because you know, some people say it's political, but it's human rights at the end of the day, and that's what I'm all for.
Well, everything's political, really.
Yeah.
Everything is political, but our human rights, yes, they are political, but they're even more base than that, aren't they? You know, every single person on this planet has the right to be treated as a human being, and we're not doing that, are we?
Oh, good gosh, no. And that's exactly what Barriers to Bridges are about, just giving a voice to the voiceless, and just advocating for topics and people and communities that matter. And
what's your favorite story that you've
my
done?
favorite Oh god, my favorite one. So we've done. It's odd that I would say this is my favorite, but I'll explain why. And it was I did an article about food banks in the post-pandemic world, and the reason that I enjoyed writing about that so much, whilst also being incredibly angered by the research, was because it really opened my eyes into, you know, I've had to. Oh my goodness, so sorry. Here we go. I had to. It just really opened my eyes into how many people need them, a lot of my family included. But it didn't quite click to me that, you know, it wasn't just like the odd person that I knew here and there that needed them. People, it's like you were saying just earlier, people who have good jobs, people who have people, you know, whether you have a job or you have a good job or you have a mediocre, you know, job, whatever. Pretty much everybody is needing to rely on it now because of the way that our government's running. Yeah, so yeah, definitely. I would say the post-pandemic food banks article is probably my favourite one to write.
And how do you get out to people? You know, is it an actual physical magazine that you can buy and pick up and read?
No,
it's just online.
It's just digital. It's a digital quarterly online national sort of magazine, but no, we don't circulate physical copies. Right. I don't know if that's something we might delve into in the future, maybe, but we're also quite, you know.
I don't know. Everybody's dropping media now. I think you'll find that all the older people will perhaps still enjoy getting their newspaper, getting their TV Times, their TV Guide. But I mean, I haven't bought a newspaper for many years, but then that's for personal reasons. I know they're full of lies.
That's fair enough, really. Yeah.
Yes, but I do know that some people like to hold something physical in their hands and
they
enjoy.
Do, you know, it's like how even my friends and I will talk about physical books compared to Kindles and things like that. You know, oh no, I much prefer a physical book, or no, you know, I much prefer an audiobook, it's better for my eyes and things like that. But yeah, I think as well it's mainly to do with being eco-friendly. I feel like just using less paper. We've got access to it digitally. A lot of people have access to some kind of device or another, so it's just becoming the norm. I think
that smartphones, etc., aren't going anywhere. They're not going to be going anywhere. So, and I think the advantages of them and the disadvantages. The advantages outweigh the disadvantages. You know, the disadvantages are the mining of the minerals that it takes to create a phone, the sales pitch surrounding buying a brand new phone. You know, like but I bought one last week. Yeah, but this week we've got a better one.
Yeah,
you know, so there are a lot of disadvantages, but you know, whereas with print media, yes, it could be said that trees are renewable. And we could print on paper if we decided that we would go about that in an ecologically friendly way. But will we? No, because the people at the top of the tree, Murdoch's empire, would not bat an eyelid at chopping down
Unfortunately,
the Amazon.
Money is power. That's, you know, they will. That's what they'll always prioritize.
Yeah. So how much of an audience have you got? Do you think, are you planning on building that? Do you have a website and a Facebook group and a Twitter account and an Insta account?
We have all of those things, yes. Sometimes I like to promote Barriers to Bridges through LinkedIn as well. But yes, no, we do have an Instagram, which we often promote our articles and our quarterly stuff on. We have subscribers that subscribe to our newsletters, which they get via email. We've got a Facebook, which we use significantly less than Instagram, but that's just because whenever we've looked at Google Analytics and stuff, we've realized that a lot of people much prefer to look at things like Instagram. And obviously the way that marketing in general is going at the minute, people have much shorter attention spans. So they like things like TikToks and Reels and consuming bite-sized information very quickly and having it be very visual. So we're just trying to sort of utilize that very well whilst also still sort of catering to the audience. So I think we do more or less use Instagram. However, Twitter is a good one to use, especially when following news and things like that. So we do. Yeah. I would say Instagram and Twitter is the most used.
I've always found that I would get my news from Twitter as it happened, and then I would disseminate it to other platforms. You know, I write an article on it and then put it on Facebook or Insta. Although I don't really have much to do with Insta, although perhaps because of my age. I know that my sons and my daughter, they're all on Insta, and they're always like, well, you haven't liked any of my pictures, Mum.
Oh, bless them.
I'm really sorry. So I have to, once a week, I have to sit there and like all their pictures and posts or whatever they're called, all their Instas. So
oh, bless them.
I think it is an age thing. To a great extent. Obviously, some people are really tech savvy regardless of what age they are. But I think it is generally an age thing without categorizing people too much. So
I think that's fair to say. Yeah, that's likely.
Yeah. And do you find that, how do you get on with Dawn? You know, because she has a visual disability. So she sees things quite differently to an able-bodied person or even a person with a different disability. So do you find that really helps with your work, you know, because she'll give you she'll say there's a different slant to that?
Not really. I mean, we're all different, you know. I myself am on the autistic spectrum. I think we all see the world a bit differently, whether that's physically or not. But no, I got on with Dawn incredibly well. From the first interview, I think it was very apparent that we were going to get on very well. We have very similar views in pretty much everything we discuss. We tend to have our sort of bi-weekly calls just saying, oh, you know, how are you getting on with this piece of research or this thing you're marketing, or, you know, this article you're writing or whatever. And we end up just talking for a lot longer than we should. And then we go, oh, hang on, yes, sorry, no, I'll let you go now. But no, it's an absolute pleasure working with Dawn. She's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, so what other stories, what's the most important story you've covered, do you think?
I think that's hard to say. I don't think there's one that's as, more important than the other. I think all of these topics need to be covered. I don't think there's a community of people that need to be vocalized more than the other. So I can't possibly say.
Yes. Although I often think that there are stories that still get forgotten about, that still get missed.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that is something we do review whenever we talk about things we covered, things we want to cover in the future. That is something we do discuss, that communities that perhaps haven't been voiced. I mean, there are always going to be, that's the thing, there's billions of us, there's always going to be people that are underrepresented, which is unfortunate, but that's what we're trying to tackle here. We're trying to make everyone feel like they're heard and recognized and validated for who they are and whatever it is that they experience. Obviously politics does tie into that massively, but I think it should, because like you say, everything is politics.
It is. Would you describe yourself as a left publication, or how would you describe yourself? Yes.
Hardcore socialist publication, and very proudly so.
Well, without socialism, we wouldn't have had the NHS, we wouldn't have had council houses, we wouldn't have had social services, we wouldn't have had the welfare system.
A whole generation of people would probably have never had affordable housing. My parents included. Right. Yeah, because of that. That's absolutely true.
Are you doing anything as a publication, or would you try to do something about the inequality, not just of people with disabilities or vulnerable, but just ordinary people who are so unequal to those that have, which is, I'll call them the 1%, because they are very few of us who have most of the wealth, the health, and the money.
Yeah. Very, very, very true. I'm sorry. What was the initial question?
Would you like to think that you would do something about it? What would you like to do about it? Would you like to, do you think that a huge audience listening to your publication? Do you want to instill in people an anger or a justification and make them stand up and act?
I think it's mainly a call to action, really. So it's not that we want to instill anger in people. I think that's already in people, but we just want to kind of encourage people to stand up and go, actually, this isn't right, and this is what we need to do. Attending rallies and things like that is, and trying to interview people in the Labour Party is something that Dawn has actively tried to do quite a bit in the past. And it's definitely more of a call to action. I think that's our aim, as well as just generally raising awareness. But yeah, definitely a call to action.
Well, tell us a little bit about, sorry, I've just forgotten her name, your graphics editor.
Celeste.
Celeste, that's it. I do apologise.
Do I?
That's age as well. Because Dawn wanted us to mention her because she deals with graphics.
She's brilliant. She's not just graphics. She's Dawn's assistant, so she helps with so much, and she is so she does a lot of the illustrations for the front covers of a new issue, a lot of promotional text, a lot of promotional images. She does a lot of that, and she's very good at it as well. She's very humble though. Whenever I've said, "Oh, you're an illustrator," she goes, "Oh, I wouldn't call myself that," but she is. She is. But she's very good at what she does, and she's brilliant. she's also hardcore socialist, just like us. I don't think you could be really to work with us, but she's absolutely brilliant.
I think that everybody is a socialist. They just might not realise it yet, because if you ask anyone, if you ask anyone, do they want everybody to not be in fear of having to be homeless if they get cancer? Do you know what I mean? It does come down to that, doesn't it? It does come down to that.
It comes to just caring about people, really, doesn't it? And it's a lot of people who, you know, support the Tory party or whatever that I've spoken to and genuinely just said, oh, what's your reasoning for this? Or the only thing they've ever said is, oh, the tax I pay pays for their benefits. And I'm just like, that.
Yeah, that's their contribution. But the rest of them, you can.
It's a hard one, but I just
go out and get a job.
Yeah, that's the common
get a better job. If you can't afford to live now, go and get a better job, darling.
Go out and get a better job. It's not only classist, it's ableist, it's so many different things under one umbrella term that I cannot. It
not. Makes you angry, doesn't it? And frustrated, and
it's not that easy for everybody. And imagine just going up to someone who's homeless and being like, why don't you just get a job? Oh, well, that's homelessness solved then, isn't it? Like, that's you're not looking at the deeper, the root cause, the root issues here. You know, people who suffer from things like addiction or money problems or whatever are just as valid and need to be heard. The last thing they need is criticism, and it's angering and it's frustrating to see, especially when people can't seem to give. Well, at least from my experiences talking to people who don't identify with being very leftist, is that they just show such a lack of empathy for people. It really does just come down to that, and I find that very concerning.
Yeah, well, I think that did Jeremy Corbyn have any impact on you?
On me personally?
Yeah, you know, the whole Jeremy Corbyn thing, or did it pass you by?
See, I was 16, I believe. I think I was about 16 when he was. But sorry about that. But yeah, no, I wouldn't say he had too much of an impact, just due to me being very young and not understanding much about the world at that point, really.
Yeah. And you, I suppose at that time as well, you were at school and thinking about where you were going to go after that, university and everything else.
I suppose I was incredibly privileged in that sense, is that was my focus, and I was blissfully unaware, I suppose you could say. It wasn't, you know, that it wasn't that I wasn't like educated. I mean, I wasn't educated on it, but I also had no real view, just because my family are hardcore leftists, don't get me wrong, but they're also very they're very impartial. They don't like to show strong opinions, so it was never something that was really spoken about in the house until I was sort of an adult and voiced my opinions, and they go, oh yeah, no, I absolutely agree, and this is why I voted. I'm like, oh, okay. Like it's just been a whole thing. But yeah,
because I mean, when I was at school, we weren't educated in politics. Nobody was educated in politics, because obviously the establishment need to keep the populace a bit dumb so that they don't question anything. And if you've got an educated populace, then they might start questioning why you're bombing this other country to smithereens, why you're selling weapons here and doing this there.
That's exactly it.
Dawn's with us. Hello, Dawn.
Hey.
Sound? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's all good. I think it's just the sound, isn't it?
Yes. I'm really sorry. Oh, such a shame, because she has so much to say.
She really does. She has far more than I ever could. You know, this magazine has been her baby for 7 years. It's 7 years in the making. You know, she's got so much to say. Bless her.
Yeah, she I think I spoke to her about 4 years ago when she was just doing it herself, and she was asking if we could like promote it a bit on the independent media, which we did. But of course, it's very hard to get a publication going. Have you joined the Independent Media Association, or have you looked into it or anything?
I have looked into it briefly, yes, but I haven't officially joined at all as of yet.
Yeah. And what about the NUJ or Impress? Are you part of either of those?
No, I'm not.
Well, I meant the publication, you know, not you personally, but, well, although you can join NUJ personally, but Impress, you know, and the IMA.
Oh, yes. No. I know what you meant, sorry.
Yeah. But
Well, yeah.
so do you see that in your future? What do you see in your future?
Oh, God, it scares me, to be honest. I don't know. I really don't know. And I hate to think, really. When it comes to how the world's going to be, I really hate to think.
Do you when you hear, I mean, obviously, even if we don't watch television ever, and we don't read the news, watch the news ever, watch television at all, don't read a newspaper, and we just go on Twitter or Insta or TikTok or whatever, you still get bombarded with mainstream media. You know, everybody I know shares a Guardian article as if it's fact. Everyone shares.
That's the problem with social media, though, is that people just read the title of something. This is what I mean about short attention spans as well, is people don't take the time to do their research. They just look at one thing or one title and just go, oh, cool, then reshare it, a full opinion formed. Yeah. It's just not.
But it's not even a full opinion formed, is it? It's a full opinion given to them by somebody else.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Very good way of putting it. Yeah.
And how do you check yourself for that bias when you're writing an article or editing someone else's article for your publication? How do you check their bias?
Check their bias. Always get another pair of eyes on it. For one, just because you know how it is. If you stare at a piece of paper for too long, you're never going to see what, you know, even the things that are right in front of you. But checking
even silly spelling mistakes, that's what I find. You know, like it goes all the way to publish, and it goes all the way out on all the platforms, and then I think, or someone comes back to me and says, "Oh, Lizzie, I like the way you spelled that word."
I get that a fair bit. Oh, you haven't quite, or I'll do a PowerPoint for work or something, and hang on a minute, there's a spelling mistake there. Oh God, that's embarrassing.
So, how can people support you? You know, I mean, we've been putting your links up on the screen. What about funding? Have you got a GoFundMe or something?
We are currently in the works of doing a crowdfunding. Actually, rather than a GoFundMe, just because that's just the route we've chosen to take. But that would probably be the main, as well as just interacting with the magazine and the pages, the social medias. Interaction means everything. At the end of the day, the message is what means the most. But crowdfunding, obviously, would help massively. It would help circulation. It would help to deliver more things like a potential podcast. You know, it could help pay our writers, you know, a wage. It could do a multitude of things, really, just to sort of get the ball rolling. But yeah, no, I'd say just interaction and engagement is criminally underrated. It can really help, and showing a lot of support.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the main way.
Do you put yourself out there as yourself, as well as your publication? Yeah.
On everything we post, we sign it off from the three of us, Dawn, Caitlin, and Celeste. We have our own sort of bios on the website that tell you all a bit about ourselves. And we definitely put ourselves out there so people know who they're reading from and what the voice is, where it's coming from. I think, you know, it's equally as important for readers to know where their information is coming from, as well as us knowing who engages with us.
Well, yes, that's true. But of course, it can leave you open to attacks. Have you had any attacks?
Very thankfully not, personally. I can't speak for anyone else. I don't know. I hope not. But no, you're very right. It can leave you quite vulnerable. I think it's very much a case of if not me, who sort of thing. So somebody's got to do it. But no, I can totally see where you're coming from. That would leave you in a fairly vulnerable, risky position. But I think it's a risk that we all know is.
Well, I think the more people that take that risk and put themselves out there, then they can't jail all of us, and they can't attack all of us.
The more of us that do it, the less at risk we are, because there's more of us. But I think as not only as journalists and as people who advocate for marginalized communities, but as women, I think as a publication full of women, I think it's equally as important to show people who we are, because it's very easy for people to look at a publication and just go, oh, cool, a straight white man's definitely written that, and it's just not okay.
Yeah. It's very easy. Yes, it's sad, really, how simple men are.
Yeah. So yes, it definitely it's a vulnerability that we're willing to accept, but we understand that it does come at a risk, for sure.
We have to put up with men.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, great. Yeah, sometimes they're really good.
Yeah, sometimes.
What would you say to appeal to new writers or people that don't think they can write?
Just post it. What's the worst that can happen? You're writing just like your speech, and your thoughts will forever evolve. I look at things I wrote last year and go, God, and I cringe a bit, but so what? You're always growing, and as long as you've got good heart and good intentions, put it out there. And
how do people get in touch with you if they want to submit something to you?
They tend to contact Dawn more than myself, just because she is the founder. However, it's usually just via email. It's never usually from numbers, just because we don't give personal numbers out for obvious reasons. No. Give me a call. No, but no, it's just from email mainly.
Yeah. Right. So if have we got any questions, Sian? If you could come in, please. Hello.
Hi there.
Oh, you're muted, Sian.
Oh no.
Sorry about that. I was just trying to find your email address to put out for you, but I found it. I'm just gonna stick this in the chat, and then I'll be with you. Okay. So Jonathan was asking a question, which I popped in the chat. What are your plans for expanding in the immediate future?
Oh, in the immediate near, let me have a look at that.
Or immediate, near and distant future. Are you going to be expanding at all? Are you going to be bringing on any more writers, or?
Oh, we are always open to bringing on more writers, whether that just be sort of one-off contributors or more staff. It's always a possibility. However, unfortunately, not many people want to do it if they're not going to be paid. It's a tough one to weed out. But for the near future, I think that our next step is crowdfunding, and just keeping on looking for setting up campaigns, looking for sponsors, and just putting words out there. I think for the minute, that's we're going to keep on keeping on. We're quite proud of what we put out there. Obviously, we're always striving to improve, but I think they're generally the next steps. That's the way we're going at the minute.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot of fans tonight, Caitlin. There's a lot of people saying they think you're doing a great job. They think you're ace. So you really know your stuff. Some of the things that we've been talking about tonight on the chat are about the words that people use. Vocabulary is important, isn't it? And
yes, definitely.
we're talking about people who receive money from the state to help them, we call them benefits, don't we? I mean, I would like to change that word back to social security, as it always was called. And it doesn't help, does it, when we've got all these silly programs on the TV called benefit scroungers and things like that. Don't pay, take it away. And you know, how do those kind of programs make you feel?
It's a complete mockery of working people, of normal people who are just trying to live their lives. You know, it's people being criminalized for merely living and just trying to survive. It really angers me, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I think they should be taken off. Dawn, can you hear us? I think we've got Dawn back with us. Dawn, can you hear us?
Yeah, she can hear us, but we can't hear you.
Unfortunately, we can't hear you, Dawn.
Oh.
We'll have to get you back on again another time when we sort everything out. Oh dear, never mind. We will get Dawn back with us at some point. So I've just been giving out your information online. We've been having a basic, we've just been chatting about benefits and how people are demonized. Jonathan also made the point that now the big issue is too gentrified to be useful. The most marginalized in society definitely need a new publication to make themselves heard. And he's very excited about the growing left-wing media ecosystem. And he also says, how can we help spread the word about barriers to bridges, or bridges to barriers, whatever. Barriers to bridges.
Again, it is purely engagement. So liking the page would do us an incredible favor there. Just subscribing to our newsletters, just keeping up to date with what we get up to, you know, behind the scenes of before publishing, and just really rooting for us, you know, maybe sharing the old post here and there that we do. I think that would be really beneficial.
Have you had any interaction with other publications, such as The Big Issue?
Yes, I think that's a big one. Yeah,
you haven't had any interactions with them though?
No, we haven't, but that's definitely something obviously we're open to.
You haven't met Peter Bird? When I met him, he always seems to be, well, he is so affable and so friendly and down to earth. And then we get this corporatization of his magazine, you know, where people are fed into the capitalist market to sell the newspaper.
Yeah.
And it really, you know, does Peter Bird pay them? No. You know, he expects the general public to give charitably to them.
Yeah.
But that, to my mind, that is enabling exactly what the bloody Tories enable, which is, you know, oh, I'm so lovely because I give to the food. I work at the food bank twice a week. Well, you should make sure that people have got a social income, that they don't need to bother with bloody food banks. Thank you very much. Is my
absolutely opinion. It shouldn't have to get to that point. And totally agree with that. Actually, yeah.
So do you do anything like that? Do you go to food banks and interview people? Do you go to anywhere and interview people? I know it's difficult with the lockdown and everything. And
that's the thing. Initially, it was all very Zoom call, and it was around December-ish. I remember me and Dawn was saying, right, we need to start getting out there again and interviewing people in person. You know, it's scary, but we've got to do it because a lot of it was over Zoom, which, you know, it was still lovely to talk to people virtually, as you know, I mean, as we're doing now. But it's never the same, is it? As meeting someone in person. But
I don't know. I think it gives to people, it gives you power. To know that there are other people like you who do care. Dawn came to the Festival of Resistance in Nottingham in October, and while she faced some real difficulties getting there, and we all faced some real difficulties at the venue actually because of the problems with the venue. We won't go into that now, but you know, she still managed to do a few podcasts, and she interviewed Chris, and she interviewed a few people. So that's what we were going to talk to her about tonight, but unfortunately she can't get on.
Bless you guys. Definitely have to get her on at some point, because no, she's got some incredible stories that she could give you. Far more.
Well, and just the story of her travel up from South, is it Devon she lives?
She does, yes. She lives in Devon, and she's kind of been around the UK over the past 20 odd years, and she's done and seen some amazing things. Really has. We met together in December. They came to my hometown where I live, and sorry, I'm saying they, Dawn and Celeste. And it was really lovely just having a big catch up and getting to know like the ins and outs of each other's like histories, you know. But no, gosh, yeah, she's done and seen some amazing things that I think you know, people here would absolutely love to hear. They really would, but it's not for me to talk about.
I have just posted the feature that Dawn wrote about the Festival of Resistance. I've just posted that link on chat if anyone's interested in
do go and read. Absolutely, do go and read it. It is a brilliant piece.
Well, I think we're almost we haven't got that long left now, so are there any other questions? Do we have any more questions, Sian? Does anyone else want to write in questions?
Jonathan has just said, I love how B2B has no social political filter or socio-political filter, and it's for and by the people it's aimed at. So
I mean, that's exactly what we love about it too. It's definitely very different journalistically in that way. You know, I suppose when I was doing my degree, obviously you're told the general codes and conventions of the way things work, but the way we do things is it's very much, you know, no sugarcoating, saying things the way they are and the way they need to be said, and that is what I absolutely adore about our publication. And I'm glad that other people do too. Actually, it's something that I suppose we do think about when catering to our audience. Think, I hope that's something that they like, and it's really nice to hear that from someone actually. So thank you for that.
Oh, there you go, Jonathan.
Very appreciated.
Diana says, every time mainstream media does one of its poverty porn and painting disabled people as scroungers, attacks on people with visible disabilities increase. Now I can you know, I can probably say that is very true. One thing I wanted to ask you was, I have a friend who teaches over in the Middle East. She's in Dubai. And in Dubai, they don't call people disabled. They call them people of determination.
Really?
And I think, you know, on signs and everything, when you've got car parking, you know, special car parking, it says people of determination only, and they have a whole school curriculum on people of determination. And I think it's a wonderful phrase to have, and it's
incredibly progressive. It's surprising that I've never heard that, because I do have a very close friend from university who is from Dubai, and she's never mentioned that. That's really interesting to know.
It's a normal thing to her, you see, so she probably wouldn't
realise
it's that different. But to me, it's something that really stood out. And when I spoke to my friend about it, she was explaining how they things based on people of determination, and I just think it's a wonderful thing that they are doing everything they can to bring down barriers to people with all sorts of difficulties. And you know, I think if I was Prime Minister, I would be calling people with barriers people of determination, because that's what they are.
I think that you'd be very widely respected for doing so. That's a lovely way of putting it, actually. Yeah.
I think people have skills. Everybody has a skill.
Of course, we're all people, all human.
But it might be worth looking at
bringing that out.
I think it might be worth looking at, maybe to do an article or something on that in the future.
Definitely, yeah. People of determination. Oh God, I'm going to be researching that all of tonight now.
Yeah.
I'll be telling my partner, oh, did you know about this? And he'll be like, oh. But no, that's really interesting. Oh,
Yeah,
that's just in Dubai, or was that whole of the Middle East? Like,
no, well, that's across United Arab Emirates.
Fab.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're coming to the end of
Lizzie.
the show now. We're coming to the end of the show, and I just wanted to just make sure that we've covered as much as we can. It's such a shame that Dawn wasn't able to get on. Or
I do apologise, guys, that you've had to just hear it from the co-editor. It's, you know, just there's so much that she could have said, and hopefully we'll be able to at some point. But yeah, no, it was still lovely to be able to come on here and talk to you guys, and even have people just commenting really nice things. It's really nice. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, we all wish you luck, and I hope you look further into joining the Independent Media Association.
Yeah.
Because we need all the people together, because 99% of us, all of us, are getting screwed.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And we're all, regardless of our political ideals, regardless of the little nitty-gritty details that we disagree on, we're all getting screwed. So we need to stand together. So read independent media, watch vlogs, watch TikTok, look at Insta, however you get your news. Make sure that you look at barriers to bridges.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Caitlin. Good night,
everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.